Hello there, my Chucky fans. I appreciate you clicking on this video. Episode 7 of Season 3 of the Chucky TV series has now premiered. This episode, entitled There Will Be Blood, and oh man, there sure was a lot of it, is now out there for all of us to enjoy and watch. And look, oh dude, I don't love to be this guy. I want to always be the positive, enthusiastic Chucky fan you know me for, but this was another mixed episode for me. I said that about the last episode and now this one as well. Don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of things I enjoyed about this episode and found really fun, but it's just this ghost aspect that they started introducing I'm not jiving with all that much, man. You know, I mentioned that criticism in the last episode and so many of y'all rushed to the comment section to go, Chris, it's a world with voodoo and dolls and all this. How do you not believe in the ghosts? It's not that I don't believe in it. I'm fine with them attempting this ghost storyline. It's not that I find ghosts now being incorporated into the Chucky world not believable. It's just that it's more ridiculous and absurd to me. But that has been one of my common complaints with modern Chucky. He's just a little bit more jokey, campy than I would like him to be. It just seems like no matter how many times I beg for scary, serious Chucky to come back, we're always going to end up with comedian parody Chucky. I'm just trying to get used to it, but I don't always love it. Still though, it's not just going to be about my opinion. I want to hear from you Chucky fans, because there is still a lot of you out there that like this version of Chucky, that like the show being this silly and goofy with the character, and hey, I'm happy for you. I'm just going to remain honest with my thoughts about it, but I'll also get into the things I did really like about this episode. Alright, so with the beginning of episode 7, we start off with Brad Dourif now physically in the role, playing Charles Lee Ray once again. This is kind of the only reason I'm letting this ghost story slide, is because we get to physically see Brad Dourif here one more time. He's recently come out and said that he's retiring from acting, except from things involving Chucky, and well, here we go. This might be one of the last physical times you see the actor Brad Dourif play his magic. And man, I just never in a million years thought I would see the ghost of Chucky walk past the ghost of Abraham Lincoln. That's where we are in the series now, man. But it was pretty funny to see Chucky look at some of his victims from this season and just start giggling at the torment he's put them through, leading us into the Oval Office of the White House, where he finally comes face to face with his god, Damballa. And man, okay, I was not expecting it to be a little Chucky doll wearing glasses, holding his hands tight like he's about to interview me for a job at KFC. Chucky makes a comment saying, oh, I always thought you'd look more like a snake, and well, that makes sense. Damballa is usually represented as a snake in Haitian voodoo culture. There's even murals in the first Child's Play movie where you do see some snakes in Charles Lee Ray's house, but no, he's not manifested as a snake here. He instead manifests as the thing you most desire, and since Chucky is a narcissist, it's himself as the doll. It is funny though, you get a corner shot of the laptop Damballa is using, and you get to see Charles Lee Ray's young photo that was also used in a slideshow in Child's Play 3. It's also worth pointing out that since he's in the spirit realm, he's in there with the body he died with, which is why he has a blood stain on his chest where he was dying from in the opening of the first Child's Play movie. And this entire conversation between Chucky and Damballa was a bit interesting. He is essentially dead right now and is being determined whether he goes to hell or stays in the spirit realm, or maybe can even return to the living, where he ends up making a deal with Damballa that if he's able to kill only as a ghost, Damballa the god will reconsider his death and maybe put him back. Cutting us to this week's title card that is made up of blood, spelling out the name Chucky in reference to the fact that blood is what gives ghosts their power, at least now in the Chucky universe, and since Chucky has spilled a lot of it in the White House, he's got a lot of power. From here on, the episode is divided into 2 separate stories. We have our main trio still trying to figure out what do we do now. Chucky's dead. Caroline is still missing. The Secret Service is attempting to wrap all this up and just present it in a way that's digestible for the American people. And then we have the story involving Tiffany, which was finally nice to see her back. I almost completely forgot she was part of the show just because we hadn't seen much of her in the past couple episodes. Ending up on death row and just really trying to get out of the situation. I'm going to start off with the Tiffany storyline. Since it's been a while since we've caught up with her, it looks like she's managed to make voodoo dolls of a lot of the guards in the prison, and she's just missing a doll for one specific guard that is keeping her from escaping, the sniper surrounding the building. She sends one of her voodoo possessed guards to go after him in attempts to get a hair, a skin cell, anything she could use to then turn that sniper into a voodoo doll, where she ends up just getting killed in the middle of the road. I don't know about you guys, but when I was watching this live in my my house, that was kind of a jump scare for me. That took me by surprise. I was not expecting that to happen to her. And well, the death of this guard basically puts all of Tiffany's plans into turmoil, and she's just now walking the green mile to get her lethal injection and pass over to the other side. The way the show was handling this was actually a little sentimental. They were honestly starting to trick me and believe they're actually going to get rid of Tiffany Valentine once and for all. Do I actually believe it's going to happen? No. I just know how much Don Mancini loves Tiffany, and really, we've gotten to the point in the show where there's like 1,000 different avenues for them to constantly be alive, even if their body flat out explodes. But for a small moment, while Tiffany is strapped down to the chair and she's being asked, do you have any final words? Is there anything anybody wants to say? We do get the appearance of Nika coming into the show. To me, it's always a great treat when Nika shows up. That's one thing I really did like about this episode to me, because she's an amazing actress, has done a lot of great stuff, and they've really sidelined her and done some horrible things to her. But again, even though this is a small appearance, Fiona Dorff knocks it out of the park with her performance and gives somewhat of a sentimental goodbye to Tiffany. She mentions that she talked to Gigi. That's Glenn and Glenda from what we now know of last season. That's what they prefer to be called, Gigi. And they essentially are just saying thank you for being a great mom and protecting us and doing all you can, and well, good luck to you. While Nika's still having a final word on how she truly feels about Tiffany.
And I know you are going to burn in hell.
All of that really great and dandy. Like, if this is actually how they ended Tiffany's story, I think I would have been fine with it. I would have been all right with it. And part of me thinks it is maybe time to move on from the character, as much as I really love Tiffany. But the little snippets of trailer footage we get for the final episode showing Nika kind of on the floor outside the prison panicking, looks like something's going to go down and Tiffany's going to be able to escape. But now bringing us back into the White House and what's going on there, they've brought in a paranormal expert to try and cleanse the White House. And I don't know about you guys, I just was not feeling this paranormal expert.
Taylor Swift hires him after every breakup.
The character as a whole was just coming off very awkward and weird, and I guess that's on purpose. I mean, he's literally a psychic, sees ghosts and whatnot, but I mean, the tiny little weird jump scares being thrown out here felt more like a cheap supernatural horror movie as opposed to stuff I like in the Chucky series, but that's some of the stuff that we've enjoyed in recent years. Don Mancini has been able to keep it fresh and different, and while everything might not work, it's still kind of cool, I guess, that Chucky can touch on these little genres. But we see Price get kind of desperate in this situation and enlist the help of the teenagers to try and get rid of the spirit of Chucky within the White House. This all involved a seance and Chucky taunting them and pretending to be an evil spirit and whatnot. Stuff that, again, just was not working for me as a fan of Chucky and whatnot, but I let it slide because it was just great to see Brad Dourif do his thing. If anything, the part that most interested me about this entire White House scenario was involving the fake president. Devon Sawa's fake president character is trying to prep the world for the fact that he's dying of cancer, and they're going to reveal it to the world soon, but he starts to catch on and goes, oh, you're actually going to kill me. Deciding to run away from the Secret Service, ending up in the elevator that gets filled with blood. That entire sequence was way more interesting than all this other ghost stuff going on. I really like when the elevator got filled up with blood. I'm assuming that's a reference to like The Shining, but then this sweet transition from human Brad Dourif, Charles Lee Ray into the doll Chucky, I thought was just really sweet. But there we go, another death for Devon Sawa down. Ending the episode off with the plan they're about to devise to go after Chucky into the spirit realm, and man, I was not seeing this coming. They're essentially taking the plot of Flatliners, which is a movie involving people who kill themselves medically and then bring themselves back to life in an attempt to just kind of cross over to the other side, see what it's like to be a ghost or a spirit. And well, Jake has decided to volunteer himself to die so that he can go after Chucky in the spirit realm, hoping he can somehow pull out the good Chucky version of him from season 2 that they brainwashed and manipulated. Oh yeah, definitely one of my favorite parts of season 2. I love that you're bringing that storyline back. All within 5 minutes so that Jake doesn't end up permanently dead or suffering some sort of internal damage. And yeah, this is exactly what I mean about like, is this even Chucky anymore? What are we doing? This feels like a completely different thing. I'm also just not even crazy about them trying to reintroduce this good guy Chucky angle. This is also also the first time I realized in a while that like Jake doesn't even feel like the main character anymore. At the beginning of this show, Jake was our new Andy, was our new Nika, and he was tormented by Chucky in a really big way. I still really love season 1, but now getting to here where he's like, I have the biggest connection with Chucky, I'm the one that can pull this off. In my mind, I was like, you've kind of become a background character, Jake. Like, you're not even one of the most important parts of this season. So it's funny, like in the last 2 episodes, to them finally step up Jake and actually give him something to do, which is sadly where I am feeling like these 3 teenagers have kind of run their course in the show and there's not much for them to do story-wise. And with that said, also next week is the final episode of this season. I feel like there is still so much more to wrap up, so many plot threads, so much going on that I don't know if it's all going to be finished in a nice package way. There's still obviously going to be some sort of cliffhanger and unanswered questions. Don Mancini already mentioned he pitched season 4 to the network. They haven't greenlit it or approved it for another season. But either way, we're also getting the movie that's supposed to slightly connect to the TV show, but be a side story. I don't know, man. Like, I want to be happy. I want to be as cheerful as some of you guys in the comments that let me know, this was a fantastic episode. What are you talking about, Chris? You're a little nitpicky, man. There's nothing more I want than to have that enthusiasm for right now. But right now, like, I'm a little on the rocks. I'm not saying show's bad. I just feel like it's starting to slightly go off the rails. And well, I'm just hoping next week's episode kind of brings me back in and we have a great finale, because I'm still preferring season 3 a little bit more than season 2, but I think that finale is going to really determine it. Anyways, guys, that's just my opinion on this episode. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know your predictions and thoughts, what you think is going to happen next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chucky Boy. Take care.